How's it going, everybody? This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist, coming to you here from the art studio. And today is Mindset Monday. I started a little early, a little later, not earlier today. Running around and whatnot. I just got right now back again to the studio. I got my Starbucks again. This one's super foamy. All right. So today's Mindset Monday, where I talk to you guys about your mindset, keeping that mindset right. How do you show up to the art studio? What do you need to do and all kinds of stuff? So this is what we do here. We do, well, I'm an artist. For those of you who don't know, I'm a full-time artist. I create artwork on a daily basis, and I look for I look for the things that stop me and quote unquote suppress my how I advance through my career, right? I'm always looking for how to remove the blocks, because I believe that in every person we have a lot of blocks, and they're not exterior, they're interior. Like most of the blocks, if not 99% of them, is the stuff that you're telling yourself on a daily basis. You know, whatever's going through your mind. So I try to handle that and talk about it. And I do videos, daily videos on it, different ways. To see if maybe, I don't know, to see if maybe it's something that you're going through. It might help you, it might not. Who knows? But it's definitely been a game changer in my own life. And as I'm handling these things, as I'm figuring these things out, I realize that there's other people out there that are also going through this in different ways. It's the same monster. It's just, it has a different face, right? It has a different face, but it's the same monster. The monster is the how would you call this? The narrator in your mind, right? I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. Many times it's not even that blunt. It's not that clear. Many times it could just be like a feeling of being overwhelmed, and you can't really pinpoint what it is. One of my favorite authors is Seth Godin. If you guys haven't read any of his books, I highly recommend any of his books. Purple Cow, Limpkin, I think it's the name of the book. He's got a bunch of books. I think he's got like something like 13 books out there. I've only read a handful of those, but watch his TED Talk. There's a TED Talk about this. His name is Seth Godin. He talks about this kind of stuff. He talks about the resistance that it's in our mind that prevents us from doing anything, right? And who was this guy? Steve Jobs said, "Great artist ship," right? Great artist ship. Great artist. End cycles, right? You have to end cycles. Whatever you start, you want to end it, because if you don't end it, it's going to start pressing on you, and it's going to start making you feel like you're not capable, right? You haven't proven yourself. You're not capable. You started a project and you never finished the project. It makes you feel like you're not capable. So it works with it's really just your self-esteem, right? It's really just your self-esteem. And I've noticed in my personal life how this affects my work tremendously. You know, it's night and day. If my self-esteem is high, my output, my credibility in myself, right? Of course. The way I carry myself, the way I talk about my artwork, most importantly, how I feel about myself, right? I start noticing that I become very productive. I become prolific. I become productive. And I become fearless. And now the last one is a very key thing, right? Because when you become fearless, then you don't see things as winnings. You don't see things as you're going to lose, right? It's a win or a loss. You just do it. And if you're fearless, you got the power next to you, you know? You're like He-Man. I got the power. If you're operating with fear, then you're going to introvert, right? You're going to become introverted. You're going to be walking around like this. You're going to start thinking about every possible scenario that could go wrong. how you're wasting your time, and on and on and on and on. So one of the things that I've noticed is many of us don't know where to start. We don't know where to start when it's about handling our mind. We have no idea where to start. There's all these options, right? There's all these things that we have to do. And one of the ways that I've handled this, and it still pops up, right, in my life, of course. I'm only human. It pops up in my life where I'm like, man, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't feel like at the top of my game. I don't feel like I'm doing things right. I don't feel like I'm doing... That feeling that you don't feel like you're doing things right, it's not that you're not doing things right. It's that you're not doing enough things. It looks like you're not doing things right. That's what it looks like. Or it feels that way. Like, oh man, I'm not doing, some people say, I'm not doing anything right. And they have this feeling, right? In my life, I've noticed that that's not the problem. The problem is that you're not doing anything. It's not that you're not doing things right. If you'd be doing more things, you wouldn't be worried about doing them right or wrong. You'd be winning so much more, right? Because you'd be realizing, oh, okay, well, this doesn't work. I'm going to tweak it. And you would have more opportunity. The more you do, the more opportunity you have, right? The more things you do, the more opportunity you have. And this is one of the ways that I get out of my own mind. When I start realizing, look, I need to do all these things, right? I need to do all these things, and I got to get to them now. One of the things that I found out also is that when you already start doing all these things and you're going in your career and you're like, okay, well, I got to do A, B, and C. I got to call a gallery. I got to do this. I got to do a painting. I got to, whatever you're doing. Get on a platform, go get some ads, create a collection of work or whatever you're doing. I've noticed that some type of paralysis can occur in that place, right? There's an overwhelming of all these things. The way out of this one, once you've decided that you need to do all these things, the way out of this one is to start doing only one thing at a time. Like, do one. I know it sounds so ridiculously simple, but that's how you get out of your own head. That's how you get out of your own way. Because many times what happens to us, one of the reasons why we don't have the right mindset is because we get ahead of ourselves. We're like, oh yeah, I got to do all this. And then you feel overwhelmed. Oh my God, I got to do all this. And then I haven't done that. So we're thinking about future and we're thinking about past, right? It's like, I have to do all of this, which is in the future, right? All of these things have to get done. And then I haven't done, last week, I wasted last week, right? Or I wasted a month ago, or I wasted 10 years, right? Whatever commentary. It's not true, but we have commentaries in our mind that are telling us that constantly. And so you're looking at the past and you're looking at the future. And the way out of it is to, it's so simple, but it's to grab the very first thing you need to do and just tackle that one. Just one. Just one. One holds the key to the next. And 10 out of 10, not 9 out of 10 when I'm overwhelmed, it's because I recognize that I haven't done enough, right? And I've allowed myself to get ahead of myself, right? My own mind is ahead. I'm ahead, right? I'm thinking about all the things I have to do and all the things that I didn't do, and now I'm like, so you paralyze. So now you're pulling out. You're pulling back now. You're like, oh yeah. What happens is that you start creating things that make you feel comfortable and pleasure. In this way, many of us do different things, right? We avoid by, I got to go to the movies, or I got to go shopping, or I got to, I don't know, use drugs or drink or whatever, right? Something to mitigate the pain, because there's pain. There's pain happening, psychological pain, of course, happening because there's paralysis, right? And this happens often. This happens often to a lot of artists. I know this happens, and even if you're not an artist, I'm sure that you've experienced this. You know this. The only reason I'm saying artists is because I'm talking to artists, but this happens to every single human being, regardless of the industry, right? We go into the future, and then we go into the past. We're like, even if you wasted one day, right? Let's say that you got drunk yesterday or the day before, and then you got a hangover, and now you wasted 2 days. So now you feel behind, and now you're like, man, and I got to do all of this. And now you're ahead of yourself. Somehow you're behind and ahead of yourself at the same time, but you're not here right now. You're not here right now, so you're being hard on yourself, and you're like, oh man, I knew I should have started. I knew I should have started creating that. And yes, it's true, you should have started, and shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you're not. But it's not, right? So what is the next best time to start? Like they say, to plant a tree, the best time was what? 20 years ago, and the next best time is right now, right? Today, right now. So that's how we get out of that. It's really a mind F, that's really what it is. So, but it creates paralysis. And so your mind can't really be, you feel like you can't trust yourself because you are in both, you're having both symptoms, right? You're hard on yourself because of the past, and then you're desperate because you want to remedy 2-3 years or 1 month or 1 week or 1 day, whatever it is. You want to remedy, you want to take care of that now, while trying to do double today, right? You need to do more. Oh my God, I need to do more. And what happens is that you end up doing nothing, right? It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. And for some people, it occurs on a daily basis. And for other people, it comes and visits you. For me, it's happened that it comes and visits me once a month. And it's a cycle, right? It's a cycle. It's a thing that, oh man, I didn't do that, and now I gotta go do this. And what happens is that I paralyze. Like for a whole day, I'm like, what am I supposed to do today? What's going on? And it's like pulling back, right? It's like, oh yeah, I gotta paint, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to do that right now. Or it doesn't feel right because now you have all these things that you need to do. In your mind, you're overwhelmed. You have all these things. And you want to do it fast, so you become desperate, right? And so you become desperate. You don't trust yourself because you can't trust yourself because you're ahead of yourself. So you can't. You're going too fast. You're like, so if you're not having true speed. You're not having true speed. True speed comes from being in the present moment, right now, and then you go deep, right, and right now. Desperate speed is when you are ahead of yourself, and then you're just dropping things, tripping over yourself, and I mean, if that's a way for you to get in, that's fine, because sometimes I use speed to get in the groove, but most of the time I realize that that's not it. The problem is that I'm thinking too much about the past and too much about the future. There's too much commentary. I don't know if it's happened to you where you wake up in the morning and you still have sort of like a comments, like a dream, right? Like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But you're awake. It's just going through your mind. Like, oh, okay, I gotta do that. I gotta call this client. And it's like on your head. And I believe the reason's because of that. It's so overwhelming, right? You're not right here, right now. You've spent so much time in the past. You spend so much time in the future, and you're not doing the work right now. So again, the way out, and to have the right mindset, where you're going to create artwork, and you're going to be you're going to be fully present. And the only way to be fully present is to do one thing at a time. Oh, I gotta do the painting. Oh, okay. You drop everything else, right, in your mind, and then you focus on that painting. And then that painting's done, right? And let's say the next thing I gotta put it on I don't know, whatever, on Facebook or your website or a platform or whatever it is. You got to put it somewhere, right? And then you focus on that. See, you got to go all in on one task at a time. It's the way out. If you don't go fully in, you could be doing 1,000 tasks a day. Let's call it that, right? 20 tasks a day. Let's call it this, okay? You can be doing 20 tasks a day, so that I don't sound too extreme. You could be doing 20 tasks a day, but you have to go fully in. Even if you give it 1 minute. Even if you give it 1 minute. Forget about all of the other tasks for that 1 minute, and you are fully in on that one. And then that one's finished, boom, you move, and you go fully in on the other one. It's extreme focus what is needed. Because it's only in extreme focus, it's attention. It's only in extreme focus that you actually get to come into present moment. That you actually get to start doing things from a non-past, non-future. right? So you get out of yourself and you get out of your own way. Because many of us, that's why our mindset is many times off, right? And especially if you have certain vices. No, I don't know. Like for me, I love coffee. I don't know if you consider this much of a vice, but I guess I don't know. I'll be without it. I just choose not to. But if you're like drinking, you're smoking all the time, and it's cutting from your time, right? It's cutting from your. I got out of focus. It's cutting from your productivity, from your productive time, and you feel like you have to go run errands, and you got to go do all this other stuff that it's not really what is moving you towards your career. Things that are not really moving you towards your career, things that don't really produce impact. Then the overwhelming starts happening, right? Because you've unplugged. I believe that there's only one way to stay truly motivated. And I've written about it. I've written articles. I've thought about it extensively. I've worked on it extensively, and I always seem to have a different spins on it, right? Different ways I look at it. But I believe it's really just one thing. In order to get away from your mind is to drop it. To drop the mind in whatever task you're doing. As Picasso used to say, right? If you can only remove your head when you're creating artwork. Because he was able to do that. So did Andy Warhol. I was just listening to a biography. Andy Warhol, a documentary, I think, yeah. He said, I don't know how I went throughout my life, my whole life, right? Without this statement. And I think the statement was something like, I don't care. It doesn't matter, or so what? It was a statement, I think. Yeah, so what? It's such a powerful statement. It's not to hurt others, right? Because some people might think that as that person's, is being apathetic, that person doesn't care about others. No, I believe that he was saying it about his own mind, right? Because we all have this thing that we don't feel we're good enough. And we all have this thing also that we feel like we don't have enough time. Time is the one, it's the real asset, right? Time is the real asset. It's not really anything else. We think it's money, we think it's other, but really the real asset is time. And he said this, right? Andy Warhol's like, I don't know how I went throughout my life without saying so what. When I learned it, he said it changed his life. And I believe he was saying it to himself, not necessarily to other people, but like, oh, this doesn't fit here. So what? Okay. Oh, this color doesn't go. So what? This print didn't come out right. So what? Like, so what? Let's not get caught up in it. Let's not hang ourselves over it, right? And every other artist has talked about it, right? Removing your mind. There's great spiritual books out there that say this doesn't mean anything, right? That's another way of saying it. When you look at something, at an event or something that didn't come out the right way, you say words like, this doesn't mean anything. And what it does is that you drop the importance of it. And not the importance of the responsibility. You drop the mental clutterness. Like it creates mental clutter. So you drop it. You're like, oh, okay, well, this doesn't mean anything. I got to take care of it. Yes, I have to take care of it, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have to mean anything. I don't have to add on to what already is, right? The painting didn't come out right. Okay, well, it doesn't mean anything. I'll fix it. Well, do you need to fix it, or does it mean anything? It doesn't mean anything, but I'm still going to fix it, right? But you're dropping the mental, the trash, right? There's so much trash. Because then if you think about it, you're going to be like, I should have done differently. I should have used another color. I should have practiced more. Man, it's because my drawing skills are not there yet. Oh man, it's because I should have ordered the frame earlier, and on and on and on. So see, that's why it shouldn't mean anything. Still fix it. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to order the right frame. I'm going to take more time to fix it. Oh, yeah. But it doesn't have to mean anything, right? So that's how you do it. And the only way to get in that mindset is to get one thing at a time. Oh, okay, well, I'm going to take care of this. And I'm just going to dive deep into this exercise right now. Or I'm going to do this video and I'm not going to think about... Right now, I could be tempted about doing all the other things that I do. I'm a working artist. And I have all these things that I do, right? I have to work on commissions. I have to get back to clients. I got to right? And I sell artwork on eBay. I auction work on different auction sites, and I do different stuff, right? Because again, as I mentioned to you, it's different actions that create a career. It's not a singular thing. It's not one action. It's a multitude of actions. And I could be tempted right now about, oh my God, in about 20 minutes, I got to go pick up my son from school, right? That's another action, and on and on and on. And if I don't dive deep right here with you guys, that's where the overwhelming comes in. Like, oh, like I got to do all these other things. And then I start forgetting and I start paying attention to what I'm doing right now, which is the most important. The most important thing in the world right now is what I'm doing right now. Whether it's this, and if I move to the next, getting my cup of coffee, this is the most important thing. I drop it, I move to you. That is the most important thing is where your attention is in this exact moment. And this is why it's become so difficult for many of us as artists to move forward, because we're thinking so much about mechanics, criteria, right? What I did in the past, what I should do in the future. How am I going to be perceived? Are people going to think that I'm a real artist or not? Do I have the right gallery? And on and on. It's a lot of speculation, right? It's a lot of mechanics. So we never really do much, right? And then again, a lot of us ask ourselves, I think I'm doing something wrong, right? And that, again, that's the wrong question. The right question is, am I doing enough? A better question, I guess, not the right one, but a better question, let's call it that. It's not what am I doing wrong, is because the reality is that most of us can do more than what we're doing. The reality is that most of us, I mean, who doesn't feel like you have more juice in your life to do more? I mean, look at Stephen Hawking, extreme challenge, physical challenge, and still be able to produce, right? To produce so much content and so much energy, and with such an extreme challenge, right? I mean, the physical challenge of that magnitude, no? And as artists, I believe that because our work is so physical, it's like, oh, okay, I take photographs. It has to be anything a human being does, right? Is exit, right? It comes out, whether it's song, right? Whether it's ideas, they have to come out. Whatever it is, right? Painting, it has to come out. It's out. It's always out. So it's physical, right? Whether we want to or not, it's physical. And whether we get someone else to write, whether we get someone else, you direct, someone else produces, or you produce and someone else, gets their hands dirty, whatever it is. But it's always out, right? It's always out. You're Koons, right? You're Jeff Koons, and you orchestrate and someone else paints and someone else, it doesn't matter, whatever it is. You're Andy Warhol, right? And you're in the factory, and someone else is doing the prints and the screen, the silk screens and whatever, right? But you're still the one orchestrating. You're still the one that without you, then the shop closes, right? So however it's done, what I'm trying to say is that because it is so physical, we easily can get overwhelmed. Because when we get overwhelmed mentally, then we turn off the physical. And that's why it's so important. That's why athletes have to constantly be reminded, right? They have to constantly train their mental, their spiritual, their mental, right? Their mental well-being is constantly trained as well. I've read about how these people have to constantly tell themselves, I'm the best. What did Muhammad Ali used to say? I'm the greatest. He wasn't the greatest when he started saying that. But he started saying that because they understand, right? People that train them understand they need to get that. They need to get that in. That's why in jobs they do, in corporate jobs or whatever, they give trophies and certain things. In the military, they give medals and this and that because they need to build the self-esteem, because they know that it's the most important. It's to give ranks and self-esteem, and to give. It's not just to keep people organized, but it's to build up the spirit, right? You're building up the spirit so that the person acts at another capacity. Because we all have it in us to act at another capacity, right? To stay with the right mindset, right? And to produce more. We all can produce more. The problem is that we don't do it because our spirits are low, right? Our spirits are, I don't think I'm good enough, I don't think they're gonna like the artwork, and on and on and on. Last year I did well in sales, but not this year. And you think that it's the artwork. No, it's because last year you were working harder than this. I mean, come on, let's be honest. It's the only reason why. There's no other reason why. I hear people all the time saying, eBay used to be great, not anymore. It's like, dude, it's not eBay. It's not eBay. It's you. No, it's me. It's never exterior. And if it is exterior, if you're like, oh yeah, well, eBay, blah, blah, blah. But then you find a way for you to continue thriving, right? You move to another platform. You go to Instagram. You do whatever you need to do, and you find a way. Because it should not be exterior. Because if it's exterior, then you can wash your hands like Pontius Pilate and say, this is not my problem, right? It can't be me. I can't be wrong. It's something out there, right? People are not buying art. It's not me. It can't be me. I'm too perfect. People are not buying art. That's a lie. It's not true. It doesn't work that way. What we receive is what we give. It's energy exchange. It's energy exchange. Sometimes we see people out there thriving on Instagram, right? We see people. You see those accounts with 2, 3 million, whatever, million of followers. I don't know, 1 million followers, let's say, right, on Instagram, and people are like, oh, that person's doing all kinds of stupid stuff. Look, like it's not even, they're not really giving value or blah blah blah. But we don't know what it took that person, or what it takes daily for that person. The sacrifice and the work they have to put in to be able to create an audience of 1 million people. We don't see behind the scenes. So we just think it's, they're doing something stupid and therefore, no. We don't know the consistency, right? The consistency of this person showing up all the time, and talking to as many different influencers and getting that flow going, right? So that people start following them, and before you know it, they have 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers, and then on and 1 million followers. And now if they do a doodle, they draw a little doodle, right? And they're like, hey, Instagram friends, blah blah blah, and then the doodle sells for $1,000, and people are like, oh man, I give up. I create masterpieces, and the person on Instagram, the 16-year-old on Instagram, made a doodle and sold it for $1,000, and I make masterpieces and I can't sell it for $200, right? So people are like, I just give up. No, don't give up. Learn from the 16-year-old. Learn the power of work. They're constantly creating outflow. One of my mentors says, outflow is the holy grail. Right, and that's how you keep your self-esteem high, right? Your self-esteem, spiritually. Well, with spiritually, we can all disagree and agree in different ways, right? But pragmatically, physically, right? The self-esteem goes up the more the man produces. It's just the way it is, because that's how we keep tally. We keep tally on production. I remember my mom used to say, a man cannot be happy unless he produces. It's the nature of men. The nature of men is to produce. That's why we were farmers, hunters, gatherers, blah, blah, blah. Now, what is it? Salespeople, marketers. It's the same thing. We go out and we have to go kill the buffalo. We have to hunt the quail or the rabbit, as they did. I don't know. Probably some places they still do that, I'm sure. But in modern countries, it's called marketing. It's called sales. It's called delivering value. It's called different things, but it's the same thing. It's farming, gathering, hunting. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Some hunt, some gather, some farm, and some do all three of them. And it's the exact same thing. And the only way to keep our self-esteem high is to stay not busy, productive. Anyone can stay busy. Just try to walk onto a wall 100,000 times. Try to do that. You could stay busy all day. But productive is different, right? That's why people get upset and they're like, man, I go to work for work. I go to work and I got to put my hours. You're going to work in the wrong idea, the wrong mindset. You go to work to produce, right? You're getting paid for production. Your boss actually hired you to produce, not to show up there from 8 to 5. That's not why you're there. You're not there to show up from 8 to 5. You're there to produce. And the more you produce, even if you get paid the same, the more you produce, you're going to get paid more. Whether it's your boss, right? Or yourself. Or it's going to be something personal. Where your self-esteem is going to be like, oh man, I'm so good. Maybe it's just time to go somewhere else, Regardless, really, life is Groundhog Day. That's really what life is. You guys seen that movie? Life is Groundhog Day. Unless you start playing with it, you're destined to live the same miserable day every single day. Unless you start cooperating with it, unless you start accepting it and say, okay, well, this is where I'm at right now. I'm going to do this one thing right now, right? And I'm going to give it all I got. You're destined. It's going to be hell. It's going to be repeating itself. And our morale is just going to keep going down and down and down. And that's what happens with a lot of artists, where we're like, man, I worked so hard on my artwork. Okay, well, great. Now work really hard on showing it to people, right? Now work really hard on showing it to multiple people. Now work really hard on getting that gallery exhibit. Now, it can't just be one thing. You can't just go and say, well, I worked so hard on, I don't know, you brew the coffee at Starbucks, right? And be like, I'm not getting paid more. Well, now be the first person there. Open the door, right? Be faster than everyone else. Be more polite than everyone else there. Get there earliest than everyone else, and leave there later than everyone else. And get the attention of your managers. And get the attention of the regional manager. And, and start and get the attention of the people you're serving. And I know this sounds cheesy and stupid, but that's the way out. It's the only way out. Because your self-esteem is going to go so high up. And other people are going to be like, man, you're great, dude. Have you ever thought about, I don't know, selling cars or whatever? Come work for me. I'll pay you $5K a month, right? Starting. And then boom, barista, adios, right? The next thing. And then you have the same attitude where you're selling those cars or whatever, and someone else sees you and they're like, dude, you shouldn't be selling here. Come with me. Let's go sell some Lexus. Let's go sell some Mercedes, right? Let's drop the lower, I don't know, price points. Let's go to higher price points. You have more whatever, right? And that's how people scale, because their self-esteem just keeps pumping up. Why? Because they become more productive. Production is the only way out. It's the only way up, and it's the only way out. And I know I went from one place to another here, but I'm trying to cover as much as possible when it comes to mindset. And it's really the only way. So when you feel stuck, next time you feel stuck and you're like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what step to take. I feel overwhelmed. I'm too much in the past. I'm too much in the future. Here's what I want to share with you guys. Just do whatever it's in front of you. Pick one thing. Like that movie of, which one was it? I think it was The Avengers or Batman or... I think Batman told Flash. One of them. It was in the movie theaters not long ago. Anyways, just save one person, right? He told Flash, just save one person. Because Flash was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to... Just save one person. What the message was so deep. Look, you don't have to go save everyone like Superman. Just do that one. And that's going to open the key to do the next one. And it's going to open the key to do the next one. And that's how it's open. It opens that way. You don't go and you tackle 100 different things at the same time. You don't know how to tackle that. That's why our morale comes down. It's like me, I never lift weights and going into the gym and saying, I'm going to lift 200 pounds today. No, I'm not. I'm probably only strong enough to, maybe I'm not even strong enough to show up to the gym yet. Most likely, right? Much less to maybe just carry a bar, right? Push a bar. That, I think the bar itself is like 45 pounds. But that's the only way out, right? To start from the beginning. We start here, and then next day, and on and on and on. Before I know it, I can put 10 pounds on each side, 20, and I'm sure that's how Dwayne Johnson started. I'm sure Dwayne Johnson didn't start like, put 300 pounds there, here I come. Of course not, right? You have to build up. And as you build up your morale, and you build up your self-esteem. And self-esteem is everything. It really is. When people ask me, they're like, how many paintings do you paint today? How much do you do? I can't believe it. I'm like, whoa. I didn't start yesterday. I started 20 years ago. So it's been a build-up. You know? And it's the same way with everything. It's a build-up. I'm sure people that run, you know, every time they wake up and they go run 5 miles, I'm sure they didn't just wake up one day and they're like, I'm going to go run 5 miles like Forrest Gump, right? I'm sure they're like, well, I'm going to put on my shoes and I'm going to go walk outside for a little bit. And then the next day they walked a little farther. And the next day a little farther. Before they knew it, they walk a mile. They did that for probably a year. You know, and then the next year they amp it up. And then, you know, 10 years later, they're running 5 miles every morning. Or 3 years later, maybe. I don't know. Some are faster. Regardless of, it took a build-up. Even if it was 1 year, it took a build-up. Right? But the problem is that we want to do it in one day. We want to get it all. Tell me, show me how. I do consulting. I do one-on-one consulting with artists, and many times what happens is that they're like, okay, well, show me how. I'm like, whoa, hold on. It's a build-up. Let's start here. Let's get this down first, right? And then let's add the next component, and let's get that down, and let's get the car moving, right? That's how it is. That's how it is. Most of us want to, and I'm not saying don't walk before you run, because who knows? Maybe you start running before you walk. But regardless of, right? Regardless of, you want to create a build-up, because that's the only way, right? It's like when they erect buildings, they do floor by floor, right? It's a build-up. It's not like, oh, okay, let's put 20 floors here and then let's do the sheetrock. No. First, let's do the ground, and then let's do the first building, and then, you know, and then the first floor, and then we go up, and that's how it's done. That's how everything is done. It's a build-up of things, and that's how your enthusiasm starts rising. So I'll leave you guys with that. My name is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist. Thank you so much for showing up, guys, here with me. I apologize that I started this video later today. But every day at noon, guys, I'm going to be showing up with different videos for you on different things. Tomorrow it's marketing, so don't miss it. Tomorrow at noon, Tuesdays, it's marketing, art marketing. I talk about different things that you can do to market your work, to get your name out there, promotion, and I'm going to sprinkle in there some sales as well, some little sales techniques, strategies that might be able to help you. For those of you who are already more ready, because there's people that are, of course, right, in different places. Some people are barely starting out to mix paint, and they don't even care about marketing, and it's not even in the radar. Some people, it is in the radar. They have a job and they maybe want a secondary income stream, and they're trying to figure it out. So I give tips on that. Things that have worked for me, not things that I read somewhere and just... there's one thing I'm against, though. I'm against, too, is reading information and then giving it, because you don't need me for that. You could just go read a book. I'm telling you guys stuff that is experiential. Things that I've learned, that I've done, specifically things that I've done, and that I continue to do, and things that I'm starting to do, and I'm showing you guys the process of things that I'm starting to do. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of that with you guys. So thank you so much. Take care. Adios. I love those hearts, guys. Thank you so much for those hearts. I gotta go pick up my son from school. Adios.